Prince Albert says it has identified its first case of Dutch elm disease in many years. The Northern Saskatchewan city says it immediately mobilized its forestry crew and removed and disposed of the tree, which was in the Riverview area. Now, Dutch elm disease is caused by a fungus spread by elm bark beetles, and Saskatchewan bans pruning elm trees from the start of April until the end of August, when the weather is warmer and the beetles are more active. Prince Albert's Parks and Open Space Manager is asking residents to work with the city and help them to identify any elmwood cuttings that may be stored in yards and back alleys. And now with that, let's take a look at today's agriculture prices. Now, after the North American Chuck Wagon Championships, the CPCA took a week-long break, but races will be back on tonight in Frog Lake. Here's our Thomas Wildman with more.
We've had a little bit of a break from Chuck Wagon action, but it will be starting up once again tonight in Frog Lake. Joining me, as always, is Greg Buchanan, the Vice President of the CPCA. And so thank you so much for joining me once again, Greg.
Thanks for having me again, Thomas.
And so, Greg, the NACC and the Rangeland Derby down at the Calgary Stampede were 2-week-long shows, so it was quite a grueling show for all of our drivers. Then they got a 1-week break. Tell me how important that break is here, and especially been talking about barn management throughout the entire season. How important was that 1-week break for each of our drivers?
Well, I think it's kind of important, for the drivers and outriders and the horses, and not just the equine superstars. They get a little burnt out. Even the drivers and the outriders have to have it a little downtime too. You have 9 days, and the separation of those 4 and 5 for the North American Chuck Wagon Championship is huge. So they had a bit of a break in the midst of that show, be it just 2 days, but it was enough. And I think it's now they call it the dog days of summer, because now it's the second half of the season. You have the Calgary Stampede behind you, have the NACC behind you, and now it's time to focus in on winning a Canadian championship, focus in on where you want to be in the standings when it wraps up in August here in Lloyd.
And so, Greg, the Frog Lake is going to be a 5-day show, and we've been talking about barn management. How important is this Frog Lake and being able to continue to manage their horses, especially in these dog days of summer, as you called it?
So you have 5 days here in Frog Lake, 5 days in Poundmaker, so 10 days in 2 weeks. So 10 days in 14 days. So that's a lot of racing in a short period of time. So yes, barn management becomes key. And more than anything, it's almost like you kind of relate it to baseball. And you have your pitching staff, you have your lefties and you have your righties, and you're going to start a lefty against the right-handed batters. So you're kind of mapping out your pitching rotation in baseball. Well, that is what Chuck Wagon drivers do too. They map out their horses on a given show and what barrels they're coming off of and what they're going to hook.
And so Logan Gorse, Danny Ringette, Luke Tournier, and Devin Mitswing are holding those coveted top 4 spots, the places you want to be when the CPCA finals come up here in Lloydminster. And then just on the outside looking in, we've got DJ King, Dallas Dick, and a few other guys that are just on the outside. What are those guys who are wanting to try and grab those standing points and try and get into the top 4 doing, as well as the guys who do have those top 4 spots? What are they going to be looking to do here in Frog Lake and in the next few weeks of shows?
I think more than anything, and it's the same story that it is from the start of the season in Meadow Lake to the end of the season in Lloydminster. It's just you don't want to leave points on the table. Every day and every night is very vitally important to the point standings, and anything you leave on the table as in points, whether it be in June or July, really comes back to biting you know what come in August. So, and I think more than anything, you want to stay penalty free, and you want to, if you stay penalty free, good things can happen, and that's a story of the book in Chuck Wagon racing.
And then finally, Greg, tell me a little bit about the Frog Lake track, as well as a few of the local drivers and those drivers who are looking really good coming out of those big shows down at the NACC here in Lloyd and at the Rangeland Derby in Calgary.
You don't have to look too far. You look at Preston Faithful. He's coming off and experience the Calgary Stampede, his first ever Calgary Stampede, and it's a confidence builder. He got to race in front of 25 to 30,000 people on national TV. He's feeling great about his horses. He's feeling great about himself. So a confidence builder for him. He wants to do really well in Frog Lake, and look for him to really come out strong at his hometown track. And the other guy, of course, Luke Tournier, coming off a North American Chuckwagon Championship, where he was dominant through those 9 days, winning day monies, winning the show, winning the aggregate. And then Dallas Stick comes off a day money win at the Calgary Stampede. So his confidence is sky high as well. So there's a lot of drivers out there, and that's a great thing for the CPCA. You don't know who's going to win day money on a given night, and you don't know going into Frog Lake on Wednesday.
Thank you so much for all the information, Greg, and we will be talking to you very soon about more CPCA action.
Thanks a lot, Thomas.
And with that, let's check in once again with Shelby Clark for another look at your local weather forecast.
Thanks again there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking an extended look at your weather forecast. We'll be starting off with our central zone of the provinces, and we have even cooled down a little bit more on our Alberta side compared to what we have been seeing yesterday. Some spots were still just sitting around that 20-degree mark, just a couple of degrees warmer than that, but now we all are just sitting at those mid-teens and even reaching around 12 degrees in some of these spots. Edson and Whitecourt at 12 and 13, and then we're now seeing 14 in most of these areas, looking at 15 in Edmonton and Rocky Mountain House and Red Deer at 16 and 17. So we haven't even quite reached that 20-degree mark for today, so we have cooled down quite a bit on our Alberta side. Going over to our Saskatchewan side now, they are still looking quite warm. They were seeing some extremely warm temperatures yesterday. North Battleford and Meadow Lake have cooled down, kind of like what we're seeing, just sitting at 19 degrees, and the rest are just seeing past that 20-degree mark. 22 over in Melfort, while it's 23 in Prince Albert, and going down to Saskatoon, they're seeing the warmest condition there, just at 25. Going over to our northern zone now, they have cooled down quite a bit, but they are still seeing those 20-degree marks in most of these spots. Flin Flon is looking a lot cooler at just 11 degrees, looking at 12 now in South End, and then we start to warm up from there. Wollaston Lake is at 17 degrees, while we're just hitting that 20-degree mark in Stoney Rapids, and the rest are just sitting around 21 and 22. But now going back over to Alberta side here in our northern zone, they have cooled down quite a bit as well, matching with us a little bit more in our central area. They were seeing some pretty nice temperatures yesterday. 16 and 17 for high-level Slave Lake and down in Grand Prairie, and then we start to warm up from there slightly. 19 in Peace River and Fort Chipewyan, and then looking over in Fort McMurray, they're just reaching 20. And now going over to our southern zone, we were curious to see what they're sitting at for today, as we have been cooling down in our central and our northern zone, and yesterday they were seeing some extreme heat, very hot temperatures in most of these spots. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat still looking quite warm, just at 27, so still looking closer to that 30-degree mark. 24 over in Calgary, while it's now just 20 in Coronation. Banff is still looking quite cool, as they are just sitting at 19, kind of matching with what they saw yesterday. And going over to our Saskatchewan side here, they have cooled down slightly just by a couple degrees from what they were seeing. They were having that extreme heat warning in effect, and they are kind of continuing that in some of these spots, especially with Moose Jaw and Regina at 28 degrees and looking still at 32 in Estevan. And Estevan was looking at that around 36, 37 yesterday, so they haven't cooled down by too much. They have been seeing some extreme heat lately. 27 in both Swift Current and Yorkton, and Kinnersley is just at 26, so they are looking at the warmest conditions yet, as we have been looking through our central, northern, and southern zones. But now looking at some overnight evening low temperatures for tonight on this list in our surrounding area, most of these spots. We are expecting those double digits for tonight again. A low of 10 expected for Bonnyville and Provo, while as a low of 11 that Meadow Lake and Paradise Hill will be expecting tonight. And Isla Cross will be expecting the warmest temperature once again with a low of 12. So we are expecting a very warm night still, although most of these spots will be seeing a high chance of some showers later on in the evening. So that will be nice. We'll be able to get some precipitation in most of these spots for tonight, kind of help balance out some of this dry heat. Looking at a little bit more areas here, only one spot is expecting that single digit tonight in Calgary with a low of 9. The rest are expecting that low of 10, and we do have a few that are also expecting those showers later on in the evening as well, with Wainwright, Pearson, and Murnum. So we are expecting a lot of precipitation in our surrounding area for the evening. Looking at our hourly forecast for our Thursday here in the border city, we are expecting another cool day, kind of matching with what we saw today. Not warming up by too much, especially off in the morning there, just sitting around 12, 13. And we won't be warming up past that as we hit our mid-afternoon. Just 15 degrees that we will be expecting for tomorrow. So another cool day, but I think a lot of people want this break because we will be expecting around a 50% chance of a morning shower and hopefully seeing a sunnier day to kind of help balance out that cool condition. Then we will start to warm it up after that as we head into our Friday, as we go into our weekend. 23 Saturday and reaching 26 on Sunday, so a beautiful weekend is expected, and we will be seeing some nicer conditions as we head into next week. That's all I have for now. Our Jace Mackey will have our news coming up after the break. Joining us today for Primetime Local News is Trish Noble with Riverbend Trading Post Sunflower U-Pick Farm. Thank you so much for joining us today, Trish.
Thank you, Shelby, for your time as well.
Really glad we could speak today because coming up soon is National Sunflower Day. Now, what's the plan for the U-Pick Farm for this day and what's really expected?
Well, this is our third year and the earliest opening. So we're quite excited to be able to open up on National Sunflower Day. What we do is we have people come out and they're there to take in the 5 acres of sunflowers. There's probably about 3 this year due to gophers, but yeah, they wander around, take pictures, and they get to pick their own sunflowers. And we have picnic tables, and we'll have actually this year we're going to have a lot of new exciting things, but I won't let that out of the bag until grand opening weekend. So.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a very eventful day and full of fun, so hopefully a lot of residents come and give some good support. Now, can you give a little backstory on how the Sunflower U-Pick Farm came to be?
Sure. Actually, what happened was during COVID, of course, with the downtime, my husband Ed was growing sunflowers all over our yard here. So I looked it up on the internet, and there was different sites about U-Picks. So I found one for sunflowers, and it's really quite the thing in Ontario. And I haven't seen much of that out here. So we had an area to utilize, and we thought, well, why not plant them? But 2021 was drought. And of course, the masks came off, I think, July 1st. So we weren't even sure if we'd be open. But the sunflowers were knee high, and I took a picture of our dogs running through the sunflowers, and it got over 5,000 likes on Facebook. So I said, Ed, we have to open, and we opened September 1st weekend, and we had 300 visitors come through. It was just amazing, and just the excitement, and just to hear the happiness and the joy, and see the smiles and hear the laughter. It was pretty sensational for the opening weekend, and we want to keep that up, and we want to expand and share this wonderful country of ours. So.
And that sounds really amazing. And it also sounds like you've had some strong support from the get-go, so that's really good to hear. And for people wanting to come see this, can you expand on some more information for what people can expect and also if pets can be allowed?
Oh, yes, we're pet friendly. We just ask that they're on a leash, and of course they're picked up after. And family friendly. We've got lots of activities for the kids. There's a lot of selfies to take. We actually brought in quite a few different backdrop items for older vehicles and unique antique farm equipment, and there'll be a new play center, and so there'll be lots to do for them to come out. So yeah, and Tourism Saskatchewan has been helping with that for us, so we get to put up some highway signage to help people point them in the right direction.
And for residents that haven't had a chance to come see or may not have heard about, the Sunflower U-Pick Farm, why would you say it's important or a good reason why people should come and take some photos and just enjoy it?
Well, sunflowers are all about happiness and well-being. And I tell you, when you get out in a field of that many sunflowers, you just can't do anything but feel a physical sense of well-being and mental wellness and physical well-being. It's Mother Nature, and just being out in the openness and the beauty. I think that's what brings people here. And we've had people show up in the same outfits just to be able to go take photos and enjoy the sunflowers and the area. And it's we're like on the edge of Saskatchewan here with the North Saskatchewan River, and it's just beautiful. And I don't think too many people know that this area exists, and we're quite happy to be in the RM of Britannia and be able to do this every year. So
Well, from looking at your background, it does look gorgeous. We know you're not lying about the beautiful landscape of it. That is absolutely beautiful. Now, where can people find some more information online and, find exactly where you're located as well?
sure, we do have a Facebook page, and we just opened our website. It's at riverbendtradingpost.com. That gives you directions there. We are found on Google Maps as well. Unfortunately, Apple Maps won't take you here, but we do have a map on the website as well, and our toll-free number is always available that they can give us a call. We've had a few people get lost, so we will have the Saskatchewan 2023 travel guide available for pickup.
Perfect, Trish. Well, I'm really glad to know there's ways people can find your farm and be able to call if they ever get lost, and they can pick those up as well. So thank you so much again for joining us today.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Today I'm joined by Jacqueline Weed of Big Brothers Big Sisters Lloydminster. And to start, Jacqueline, can you just go over what Big Brothers Big Sisters is for those unaware?
So we match professionally screened and trained adult mentors with kids in the community that are in need of a positive role model. And our hope is that we're creating life-changing relationships that ignite the power and potential in those youth.
So you're currently reaching out to the community for more volunteers. Can you speak on that?
So we always have a waiting list of kids that are waiting for a mentor. We right now need 29 mentors for all of our programs. And, just really want to keep people aware that there is a need. As we match some, we get more. It's kind of like a revolving cycle, as people learn about our services, which is great. There's a lot of kids that we can provide some mentorship to in our community. But we do need those mentors, and they don't have to have a special skill. Everybody thinks, I'm not sure if I could do it. You just have to want to have fun and have the time to be able to spend with them.
How does the process work for matching a mentor to a kid?
So we match according to interest and age that the mentor is interested in. So they would be doing things they already like to do. So, depending on what their interests are, they could do baking, they could be outside biking at the park, they could be having picnics, they could be doing a wide variety of things. In the winter, playing hockey, going skating, or doing crafts. It just depends what their interests are and then how much time they have available that week.
How does one go about applying to Big Brothers Big Sisters?
They can go onto our website. There's an inquiry form there that if they fill it out, we get the inquiry. They can call the agency. They can message our Facebook page, a variety of ways. We've made it super easy for people to connect with us.
What do you think the importance of what the mentors as well as the kids receive from this program?
So for the mentors, some of the benefits is they're getting out in the community. So if there's somebody that's new to the community, they can learn a little bit about Lloydminster and the things we have available. It gives them fulfillment. They get to go out and have fun and do things, maybe they haven't done since, they were young as well. So you get to be a kid again, and it's okay, because you're with somebody who is a kid. And just looking forward to doing something and making a difference. And then for the kids that are mentored, it provides them with new opportunities, gives them something to look forward to. Depending on the program, for the kids that are in the in-school program, it gives them improved attendance because they know somebody's coming to see them at school. So just, a sense of belonging, a sense of self-confidence, it gives them things to look forward to, maybe develop some new skills and interests, that they can work on as they get older. So just a ton of positives for both, but it happens naturally and easily through the course of the match.
Were there any last things you'd like to add?
Just that the matches are supported by our office, so it's not like we match you and then we say you're on your own. We do have our professionally trained service delivery staff that do support those matches. We walk along the journey with you, and definitely are there. If you need ideas, or if you think there's a hiccup along the way. So we do the screening and training and matching with you, and then we support you on your journey. And it's just a really rewarding experience. I have the fortunate part of being the one that does the matching, so I get to see both sides of it, and it's just wonderful to be able to provide these opportunities to both parties.
All right, that covers everything. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jacqueline.
Awesome, thanks for reaching out.
And before we leave tonight, the countdown is on in Paris, with today marking exactly 1 year to the 2024 Olympics. Woo! Now, the exciting stuff, the massive countdown clock along the river scene showing just 366 days until the world comes to the City of Lights. And no, that's not a mistake, because 2024 is a leap year, so there's an extra day there. The opening ceremony is set for Friday, July 26th, and in a big change this year, usually the games have a whole bunch of new venues. 95% of the venues for this Olympics, though, are going to be existing or temporary. Okay. Only the athletes' villages and the aquatic center are going to be actually built for the Olympics. So,
well, that sounds mighty exciting. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited for that. I know I am.
I'm more of a Winter Olympics guy, I'll say, though.
That's true. I kind of forget that there
especially
is Winter
in
Olympics.
Canada.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot more what Canadians like to see, is the winter sports and everything.
Hockey,
of course,
skating, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's always a fun time. But that's really interesting about the Paris one.
Yeah, so
honestly.
1 year to go.
Yeah, we just got to wait an extra day.
Come by fast, yeah. Gotta love the leap years.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have, though. I won't be here for the next 2 days, so Abby St. John will be anchoring, and I'll see you guys again on Monday.